Welcome to the Golden Square Podcast with your hosts, Linda Scott and Sharilyn Fisher. Are you ready? Because we're starting now.
Hey, Sharilyn! I see you bouncing off the walls over there.
Girl, listen, I am so excited. I think I done called everybody I could talk to in my phone. I'm super excited that the jury did the right thing. They took all notes because I was taking notes like I was the attorney. Now, ask them this question right here. Now, go to this question right here. I am so glad, not because it was him, but because it was him, because you mistreating so many people and just lying and okay, that's my opinion.
The thing that got with me is he thought he was above the law.
Exactly.
But the law did not apply to him. That's what really because I don't want anyone to be found guilty if they're not. But he just felt like the law did not apply to him. He could do what he wanted to do when he wanted
to whom, and to walk around all about what he done did for us, and then girl putting pictures up with black people who had 5 fingers and can on, that Photoshop. They just didn't. Girl, that just killed me. But I know in my heart that he probably won't go to jail.
Oh no.
But he has a felony.
He has 34 of them.
We'll worry about all that July the 11th. So I'm just okay. So because I need a mental break right there. That's it right there. So
yes.
Let's just bring on our guest for the evening, and this is absolutely the greatest time to do so. Stu.
Hello there.
How are you?
What's going on, ladies? How y'all doing this evening?
I'm happy. I almost said some stuff like back in the old days. I'm happy. Anyways,
man.
Hey, Stu, this is okay. Wait, Stu, introduce yourself because I'm ready to get in. I'm ready.
Okay. Well, greetings to you, ladies. Man, no doubt about it. And greetings to the audience that may be tuned in. Hey, I am your friend, your partner, your play uncle, your play nephew. That is Roland Stewart. A lot of people call me Stu, and some others call me Denzel. But I promise you, them the ones that need glasses. Man, so they need glasses. But one day, you know what I mean? Because I'm going to speak those things that are not as though they were. Amen. So we're going to get there. We're going to get there. We got about 50 more pounds left. That's it. 50 more pounds.
That's okay. We can have a big version of Denzel.
That's
what that is.
Denzel-y, huh?
Yes. So, but Stu. Today could not have been a better day to talk about our issue for as men with mental health. Because I know in my right mind, from my daddy to my mama, that man that just got found guilty of 34. That's his number now, right? His number is 3445. Today is May, that's 5, and today is the 30th. So y'all got that number? That's his number from now on. 34, 35, 5, 24.
No, I've been laughing at her all day.
Yeah, I'm laughing now. I ain't lying to you.
She has been cracking me up all day.
But Stu, I know he's having a mental
absolutely
breakdown on the real deal.
Because he never thought they would find him guilty. So he's having some mental problems.
Of course.
Right now. Some emotional mental breakdown
problem. Yes. And then you have some other people that been trailing him. And I'm interested in men, period, with mental health. Because I think, as Sharilyn and I was talking earlier, that they always say men don't cry and men don't do this, but you may not see them crying. But what you do see them doing is, I'll say, misusing alcohol, drugs, and going into a shell.
Or they hold it up. They hold it in.
Right.
You can only hold it in so long before it starts bubbling over and bubbling out. You can only hold those emotions in.
Yeah. It's a such thing as externally crying and internally crying, and that internally crying allows for people's mind to really just drift off from who they normally are. their normal actions and whatnot. And so those become what we call symptoms. Symptoms as it relates to what you used to do, but now you don't do it anymore. And now it's a symptom as it relates to, okay, what's wrong? What's the problem?
Right.
But you hit on the key point that most men has that stigma, if you will, I can't cry. And that's evidence or result of how they were raised. Some of the things they were taught. Right. For real.
And those are our peers because, I will always tell my boys, I have 2 boys. I will always tell my boys, and I got 3 grandsons, it's okay to cry.
That's right.
Because when you're crying, you're cleansing out all of that stuff that you done let build up and build up. And it's okay to talk to somebody. If you don't want to talk to mommy, let me find somebody who you can talk with.
You can relate to.
So you can, so you can issue all of that. But we don't have enough that I know of. I'm say what that I know of. But we don't have enough men that follows that route.
Yeah, right. One of the things about crying that I learned over my 54 years of gracing this earth is the fact that emotion creates commotion. Emotion creates commotion, and you have to be able to cry. I encourage people that are going through things that I might be evident of realizing that they're going through. And I tell them, hey, look at it. When was the last time you cried? As a financial counselor here in Missouri, there's some things that people have experienced because sometimes when your finances are wrong, it's because of some things that went on when you was growing up. And so now, when's the last time you cried? If you ain't cried, I got some tissue because you got to let it out. Because if we don't let our emotions out, which is a way of controlling our emotions, and then we lose control. Come on, somebody. Then we lose control, and then we be on CNN, getting felonies for 34 counts or whatever like that. Come on, somebody.
This subject is really, really dear to my heart because my son suffers from a mental illness. But when I did not know what was wrong with him, and as I investigated and did my research, I find so many of our veterans out there because my son was homeless for a long time, and I used to see homeless people, and I used to say, so you got to be careful what you say and what you think.
That's right.
I used to always say, where's their family? Why their family letting them be out here homeless and whatever? Then it turns out my son was homeless, and I couldn't make that rascal come home. I could not make him come home. To limousine and walking up and down the street in Miami.
I sure did. I started the back of his head, and I said,
Mama.
I know that kid. Let me back up. And I didn't scare him because you thinking you're walking and nobody knows you. But that's another thing. They ain't who you know, it's who you. So I saw him and I pulled up and I said, hey. And then he looked at me and he was so glad to see me. I was like, okay, I'm in. Now, here is what I'm going to do is put my phone down in my lap and I'm going to call Sharilyn and say, hey, I see your baby here in Miami. And he's coming toward the car. And I'm not going to let him know I'm talking to you yet because we don't want to throw him and fear him.
Right.
So when he came to the car, I said, boy, when the last time you talked to your mama? And then he admitted he hadn't. I said, well, let me call her, okay? And he said, okay. And I was like, glad. Okay, I'm saying, Lord, we in again. So gave him the phone and he talked to his mama, whatever their conversation was that was between them. But I was so grateful to God that he allowed me to be present to see her child that she was looking for. And how you looking for a child way in Miami?
Yeah, wow. I'm looking for him in Houston because the last time I seen him, he was downtown Houston homeless, and he done got to Miami. But what I was saying was, in my research, because I did not know how to help him, but in my research, trying to find a way to help him, I found out that the majority of the people, the guys that are homeless are veterans with a mental problem. And so many out there. Yeah. There's so many different programs out there for veterans. My too is a veteran as well. There's so many veteran programs out there from the VA or whatnot that can help out
And we just have to go ahead and make those phone calls. Of course, that number is not available to me right now, but I can get that back to y'all so y'all can publish that to your audience. But there's a particular number that can be called just for veterans. It's a crisis, veterans crisis line, and it can be given out to our veterans. But, one of the things I wanted to say, as you were saying that, ma'am, about your son, is that we have to have observation through revelation. And what I mean by that, we have to observe because we have a revelation that something is going wrong. But then when we do observe, we have to observe from the standpoint of pretty much as like a counselor. And what I mean by that, because as a mother, you're a nurturer. Mothers are naturally nurturers. Mothers are naturally nurturers, and mothers are naturally counselors. But you have to sometimes take that mothering hat off, because if you leave that mothering hat off, you can be so irritated with your son. Like, boy, what are you doing that for? He can't tell you. He can't tell you why he's doing that. So now you have to be that counselor to make him realize what he's doing, asking those questions that will pull out what he has in his mind. For instance, if he's doing something, then you would just ask those questions that might begin with why. Why would you do that? Why are you thinking that? Why is that so? And allow for them to kind of give you an interpretation or narration of what it is that they're doing. And that's until they get into a professional counselor, therapist and whatnot.
So that's you have to do exactly what I did. Step back. Sometimes you think because you're the mom, you're the parent, and you know all and you can do all. But I had to step back and let the professionals.
That's it.
I had to completely step back.
Yeah, absolutely. Because if you don't step back, then sometimes it can be a hindrance for the professionals to do their job. So you're right. And the professionals know what to do in those situations and whatnot. But, one of the things, ladies, the 5 top things of mental health issues that men deal with is bipolar, PTSD, anxiety, substance abuse, and depression. And one of the sources that I was doing research with is from Mental Health Foundation. Some of the most prevalent mental health conditions among men are depression, anxiety disorders, schizophrenia, PTSD, the substance abuse. And according to newsmedical.net, what are those causes, right? What is the main cause of mental health? Well, several things can trigger mental health in men, including separation, divorce, other relationship problems, financial stress, maybe pressures at or associated on the job, not having a productive, decent paying job, illness, isolation, drug or alcohol abuse, and others. And then we have those examples. And these are the things that we as loved ones are concerned about our loved ones need to really be kind of paying attention to. But while there isn't any different sort of male depression as opposed to or compared to women, some symptoms are more common in men than they are in women. And these are irritability, sudden anger, increase of loss of control, risk taking, and aggression. And men also may be more likely to use alcohol and drugs to cope with their depression rather than talking about it. And I think most of us can probably relate to that. It is times that primary care physicians and mental health service providers, as I did my research, and policymakers look critically at the accuracy and the utility of their assumptions and explanations of men and whatnot, right? And the awareness and the things that they go through. So now we have to go ahead and get into the awareness. And what is men's mental awareness? Well, it's a primary focus. It's a primary focus to encourage men to speak up and seek help for mental health issues. That's one of the things that we have to do with our loved ones. Once we see any kind of symptom, we have to be able to encourage them to speak up and to seek some kind of issue. And other aims include, breaking the stigma surrounding men's mental health and promoting culture of openness and support for men who are struggling. 9 times out of 10, if you have a man who is struggling, right, any kind of mental health issues or whatever like that, they probably don't have anyone to talk to. Right. And when we talk about having
anyone to talk to, or do they choose not to talk to somebody?
That could be it too, because sometimes, and very good question, Miss Linda, because sometimes, like when I was going through my issue, and I'll go ahead and explain that issue momentarily, but when I was going through my issue, I didn't have anybody to talk to because people who I could talk to was right there on my level. Typically we need somebody to talk to that would be a little bit higher up, that's been there, done that. Right. They can kind of really give you some mentals, give you some real physical, sometimes some real tangible help or whatnot, right? And if you do talk to some people who are on your level, you need them individuals to really kind of just listen. And some people, they ain't really listen. They want to go ahead and give you all kinds of talk, all kinds of, you need to do this, too. And then man, okay, never mind. Because they're not really listening to you to evaluate where you are mentally. We have to help people from where they are. You know what I mean? So that's one of those things.
Wow. So, and I know you have a story, and I would just like for you to elaborate on that just a little bit. You know, because Sharilyn, I always say there always somebody out there that needs something that we can offer, and our thing is to offer help to everybody that we can.
Right.
So, just give us a little bit to go on.
I went through a bout of depression, and I really didn't realize I was going through depression. It was in 2023, last year, and it started approximately around the mid-month of May all the way through the end of November. There were so many different things that was going on in my life. First of all, I was unemployed. I ended up losing a job that I truly loved, that was paying the bills, to now nothing. So I was unemployed for like about 5 months. And then there was times when I applied for a couple of jobs. And, sometimes you can go through an interview process and it goes real good. You're talking to the interviewer and whatnot, and you as the interviewee are having a good conversation with him. So you just automatically just count it all joy. That's going to be my job. But then you get that word that it ain't your job. And I went through that twice. I went through that twice. Then I was almost about to lose one of my vehicles. It was an accident. I had an accident during this course of time as well, where I was hit, and the insurance company from the person who hit me and whatnot, they was acting up. They said they wanted to back out of their responsibility of taking care of my vehicle. So now I had a threat of my vehicle being taken. I've already lost my job. I've been applying for 2 other jobs. I've been turned down for them, and the bills are packed and stacking up, right? So I went through that, and the thing about it is I didn't ask for any help. Ask for any help. I mean, from no one. I even got a mentor. Didn't even call him and say, hey, look, my man, I need some help, man. What should I do? And I remember, as I shortened this up by saying the resolution to it all, I'll never forget it. It was in August. It was in August of last year, and my mentor, we were sitting having lunch and whatnot. And typically, I would pay for the lunch, but my bills and all that kind of stuff got so tight. I had to let him. I started telling him, "Okay, let's go Dutch," but I couldn't even. Y'all remember that Dutch? You remember that Dutch? And I ain't talking about no double Dutch either. I'm talking about Dutch. You understand? But I couldn't even go Dutch. So we get there, we fellowship, and this is what he told me. Simple statement. He said, "Stu, did you seek the Lord?" Wow. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. Now, some people out there in our audience might not have a relationship with God. Right. But the real point that I want you to go ahead and come to is seek somebody, talk to somebody, because we can pour in. The Bible says how God gives us people for our lives. And so people can pour into you. They can make you they can give you something that can kind of wake you up to say, okay, ooh, yeah, that's what I need to do. Yeah. So when I sought the Lord on that day, it was around 5 o'clock. 2 hours later, I ended up checking my email, and it was about 5:05 when the email came in from the insurance company saying, okay, we'll take care of the vehicle. And therefore, I didn't have to lose my vehicle. And that was one working day. The very next working day, I would have lost my vehicle. So the moral to the story is I encourage men, open up, talk to somebody. And they don't have to be a professional, but let them be somebody who utilizes their ears. Because God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. You need that person who can let those ears activate as opposed to necessarily just the mouth.
So sometimes, go ahead, Sharilyn. Sometimes people have been depressed so long that they don't recognize that that's they don't realize that that's what's the matter. They've been depressed so long that it becomes the norm. It becomes the norm. And then that's when, like you say, they need to talk to someone so someone can point it out. No, you should not be feeling this way. This is not normally how you should be feeling.
Right.
It's always good to open up and talk to someone.
Absolutely.
But when you're seeking someone to talk to, that's where we find the problem. But in your case, Stu, you had a mentor and you chose not to talk and let that out. Why would you hold it in? What was the purpose of that?
Good question. Good question. Sometimes we as men, we think we got the answer. Sometimes we as people think we know the answer, right? And there's a difference there. Men, we get to thinking. People, we get to knowing, right? And for me, it was times when I was thinking and knowing. I just thought I knew it, because when it came down to, problems, and here it is, that troubleshooting piece, right? When it came down to problems, I thought the troubleshooting was just making phone calls, just talking to the people at the insurance agency or whatever like that. But I couldn't even realize that, Stu, you didn't talk to 4 different people at this insurance agency, and neither one of them seemed like they're helpful. So now you got to come with a different mentality. You didn't talk to the auto body shop that's going to keep your vehicle, and they shouldn't be keeping your vehicle. And guess what? Nothing's happened. But I simply just took that thing to God in prayer. Simply took it to God in prayer after my mentor has shared with me some things, right? And it elevated my mentality, my thinking, And I know some people, especially when we talk about mental health, I want to be mindful and sensitive of what I'm saying and how it's not necessarily applicable to every mental health case that may be that we men suffer. But this is just my testimony and my resolution of a testimony, if you will, on how I would encourage others to, if you can, seek some help, and I know we get to we're too deep in that situation where we don't even realize we need help. Well, that's where I hope that our loved ones can come from, because I think this episode is really significant for those people, men, and those people who know men, so you can be observant of those men and those persons in your life.
I know Sharilyn asked this question or made a statement in reference to not knowing. You've been in it so long, you don't know you in it. How do you not know that you're in it?
That's a good question. Yeah, that's a good question, because again, I didn't even know until it was spoken to me that, Sue, you actually went through a bout of depression. You just don't know. For me, I just didn't know because I thought I knew what I was doing. I thought I was just going through a trial and a tribulation. But in all actuality, the trial and tribulation was something that I had let linger instead of going to the ultimate source, which in this case would be my Lord and Savior. But the bottom line is I just didn't realize it. And there could have been other entities and agencies I could have called. But I just thought, okay, I'm going to just stay right here and make this happen, do this, whatever the case may be. And I will say this, right, one of the things that just dropped in my heart on this is, like, if we as people know those persons who get to a point of thinking they know it all, we got to be mindful and very observative of them when they are going through, because those persons may tend to say, okay, I got it. I can deal with this. And I grew up with a lot of people like that, went through the military with a lot of people like that in my younger days when I got it. And so what I normally do is I just simply ask them, okay, so I'll check back in with you in 2 or 3 days or 2 or 3 hours and see if you have the same situation. If you do have the same situation, will you allow me to help? Those are some of the things I've come up, in my time of being able to help those who they got it. Or even if it is a person who's not so egotistical to think they got it or think they're smart enough, it's just a person who's just going through repetitive situations. Hey, if you don't mind, I'm gonna check in with you in 2 days or 2 hours. If you got the same results, do you mind if I just kind of give you this particular option? And then we just see how that goes.
I know you said you was going through your trials and tribulations. So that means you had a relationship with God prior to going into your depression. Your mental mentality wasn't right. So for those who don't have that relationship with God just yet, how do we put God in it? Because everybody ain't there yet now.
Right. That's right.
Especially men. You're talking to them about, okay, well, let's pray about this right here. We're gonna do pray. I almost said another word. I don't feel like praying, but It's Stu. I get caught up.
It's my job, and you talking about praying. I'm talking about to lose my car. Right. So, where was God when all this first started? You know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's a man's thought that I always see or hear men say when you say, well, let's pray about it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Girl, ain't into praying. God already knew. Y'all say he know, from the top of my head to my toe and all that. I said, oh, so you know a little bit about it. So therefore, I do need you to pray. It doesn't have to be with me, but can I introduce you to someone else who can pray? I've learned.
Mama, come on.
I've learned over the 66 years that God let me be on this earth.
All right, now go ahead on.
Yeah, you have to be careful when you're saying to the now generation or a couple of generations behind me about prayer and about God. I want to know what's the best way to tackle God and man.
Good question. When it comes down to, recognizing that there's some kind of an issue or mental issue or whatever the case may be in a situation with a man or anyone rather, right? Mm-hmm. What I like to do is I like to go ahead and kind of elevate that sense of purpose and meaning that a person has here on the earth. And what I mean by that, a sense of purpose and meaning in life can enhance mental health. So in other words, you want to go and validate an individual with love, validate an individual with compassion, because if we can be compassionate with people, that can take them a long way. I remember when it came across my heart and mind with me and military members from my military unit. We went to the VA and we just started visiting some of the patients up there in the VA and whatnot, right? And so there's one guy that dispatches out in twos. So this one guy that we went to go visit, me and this other young lady in my military unit and stuff, we just had a good time with him. We supposed to go in the room, come out of that room, go into another room, visit 3 rooms, but we was in that one room the whole entire time. Wow. And then later on, me and her, we said, we need to go back and visit. And here's the point. We went back and visit, and when we went back and visit, we checked back in with him again in 2 months, and he was doing a whole bunch better. One of the reasons why we feel that he was because the second time when we met him and saw him, we started, because he was depressed and having any family members, and we wanted just to kill that depression right then and there. We spoke against that thing right off the bat to say, look here, so I know I just met you the last time I came up here, but you are a wonderful person, a wonderful personality. You have still yet a lot of things to do here on the earth, and I love you. And I started calling, as a strategy, I just started calling him uncle. You know what I mean? I said, come on, uncle. Now, I ain't gonna lie to you. I was calling him Unc and didn't even know his first name. Didn't even know his last name. This is what the Holy Spirit gave me as a strategy to go ahead and validate him, give him purpose, give him meaning, because he didn't have family. So he spoke about not having family the first visit. Now God gave me this strategy the second visit. He's uncle now. You know what I mean? So, and I just had a good time with him because I just started calling him Unc all the time. Hey, Unc. Yeah, okay, Unc, okay, Unc. Every sentence had like 2 unks up in there.
That's because you gave him a relationship.
That too.
That he had not had.
There you go.
Period, or in a minute, or whatever the case may be. But that's a lot of my brothers that I say from another mother, because I got a lot of them here in Houston, but all over. But that's the thing that I've learned dealing with men and seeing the relationships that they have going on in their head. So it's always, hey, my brother, what's going on? And one of my brothers always say, family, what's going on? This is what I need to do. I need to talk to you about this right here. I'm your big sister. I'm going to tell you. I'm going to try to tell you, but I'm going to give you my advice because you're bringing it to me. Yeah. And then again, you brought it to me because you wanted it to stay with me, but you wanted help.
That's it.
So sometimes we get you to bring something to Sharilyn, and we thinking, we'll be right back. We got to take a quick break.
I'll take a quick
and then I'm
break.
Finish when I come back.
All right.
Sorry about that.
Hi, this is Sharilyn Fisher, and I am so excited about Joyful Playhouse. Let me tell you what Joyful Playhouse is. It's a funplex center, but it's like no other funplex center in the Houston and surrounding areas. We will be dedicated to children with disabilities and special needs. Not only we have services for the children, but we will have services for the families and the siblings. Joyful Playhouse needs your assistance. Will you please go to our website, www.joyfulplayhouse.com. There you will find a QR code to make contributions, and there's also a link where you can sign up to volunteer. That is www.joyfulplayhouse.com, and you can also find us on all social media at joyfulplayhouse.com. I'm excited, and I want you to get excited with us. So come on aboard to joyfulplayhouse.com.
Hey, welcome back. Hey. Welcome back. So, for those of you who just joined us, we have Mr. Stu, aka Denzel.
Stewhype.
Yeah, ain't nobody gonna use Mr. Stu. Who Mr. Stu?
See, I tell you, we try hard. We try, Sharilyn. We try hard. I tell you.
Hey, but that boy a fool. He ain't no Mr. I'm calling him Stu.
Listen. Like Stu on the real deal. We're here talking to him in reference to men with mental health, depression, all of this stuff that go on, and why men hold it, won't share with anyone. And before we went on our break, I know I was telling you that sometimes you bring stuff to someone to sit and talk to, and then you want to stay right there with that person. Right. But you brought it to me, and then I had to go to Sharilyn and say, "Hey, Sharilyn, I don't know this situation, but this to help me out in order to get you back to where, what you're needed." So then we have those other ones that you brought that information to me and wanted me to keep it with me and help you get out of that situation. But then I took it and spreaded it to the social media. Wow. So now everybody is stuck in that ball that I can't tell nobody nothing. At all. So go ahead, Sharilyn.
That's how our Black community has that taboo that they don't talk about mental illness, especially our Black men, because they don't know who to trust with that information. They have no idea who they can actually trust with that information.
So with all that being said, how about because I want to fix it. We want to fix this some kind of way. I don't know, Stu. You help us fix it, but how do we fix "I told you, but you told Sharilyn" syndrome? How do we fix that? And not that I told Sharilyn because I wanted to spread the information of what you just brought to me, but I had to go to her so that I could know how to handle you, how to get you back on track. How do we fix that?
Well, one of the things that I think in that situation is you have to be apologetic. You have to be remorse, because in essence, you actually failed the person who trusted you with the information if you took it somewhere else. And so you have to have that positive outlook to encourage, to say, look, I'm sorry, I apologize, because now what I'm taking from that question is that person still has not got the help. So we still have to be able to yield to them to be able to help them. Right. But the first thing you got to do is get them over this current hurdle that's right in front of them. And that's that lack of trust, or that the fact that the trust was violated, if you will. So you have to be apologetic. You have to go ahead and be proven, if you will, to that individual that you can trust me. Or even so, here it is, just pass it on to someone who can care, who can be there, who can actually help. Maybe just step out of the way, apology, and then step out of the way. As we alluded to earlier and whatnot. It's just one of those things. Now you have to get that individual most likely off that current situation, that current problem of the not being able to trust anymore.
So still, we have one of our audience wants to know, how do you get teen boys to open up, or adolescent boys? How do you get them to open up?
Good question. Good question. We got to, the Bible talks about training a child up in the way they should go. And if we're not talking about training up in the way to go as far as being with Christ, being with the church, whatnot, we're still talking about training them up in the way that as a parent for them to go. Mm-hmm. So now once we've done that, then we should be able to corral them again. But now let's say, for instance, there has been some disconnect in that fatherhood or that motherhood with that particular child. Now this child is going wayward. Uh-huh. I would just suggest talking. You always got to open up any kind of situation with talking. Mm-hmm. Nothing can be resolved without talking. You have to open it up, but we have to be to a point where we can let the child talk. I think one of the things I learned with my own nephew, as a matter of fact, when he was cutting up, and there was a play nephew in Texas, when he was cutting up, what actually helped us a lot, and I say us, myself and his parents, because they called upon me, was let me get him out the house. Let me go talk somewhere. Sometimes you got to get a child out of the environment that they're upset with. They being in the house because they're in the house because they can't have a cell phone. They're in the house, they can't look at TV. Well, get them out the house. Mm-hmm. Local restaurant or something, like a nice restaurant, not no McDonald's, no Burger King. The nicest environment, the better the results. Hello, somebody. Because now what we're talking about is a little bit of a passion. We're talking about passion, we're talking about caring. I care to take you out to go somewhere so we can talk. Now you ain't gonna be able to do it at the movies. You ain't gonna be able to do it at a amusement park. There's got to be somewhere where y'all can go and y'all can talk. And that's one of the things that works. So when it comes to the children, allow them to get out of the environment that they're in, that they're disgruntled in, get them somewhere, love upon them by way of letting them talk. You have to know what they're going through in order to help them to get through that. Wow. Exactly. And I think that's one of the things that I experienced too with a friend of mine, where I can kind of tell that they wouldn't let the child talk, because even when I was there in the living room and we were trying to just come to a resolution, there was a lot of parent over talking as opposed to the child over talking to parents. So I said, look here, this is what we need to do. First of all, let's do this right quick. Y'all got some cookies in the house? Cookies. Yeah. If you don't mind, let's go get some cookies. Now I'm talking about get some cookies for me, right? Because what I need to do is I need to get them in the kitchen and say, look here. I need to pull them to the side and say, look here, will you shut up? That's what I told the parents. Will y'all shut up and let the child talk? Because in my mind, I'm saying that's the reason why the child is grown. Right. And he can't talk. He's 16 years old and can't express himself to his family. Come on now. Wow. I said, I don't want no cookies. Put them cookies up. I want y'all to learn some stuff. And when we go back up in here, let the child talk. Don't cut it.
Sometimes you have to listen.
You gotta listen. You gotta listen. And so that's the one thing I noticed.
Is we forget that we were 16, 15, 13, whatever that was. We forget that we were that age at one time. And the things that, of course, the things that we are doing, we say, oh, I've already done that. You can't. But yeah, we've already done that. So let me just help you. And the key is what you said, that communication line. You have to allow those kids to express themselves. Mm-hmm. And half the time they don't have it from your experiences. Then they don't have that parent, that sister, that auntie or whatever. Because I think I was always the go-to auntie, because I wasn't sugaring the code. Now tell me what you doing. Unless you tell me you finna kill yourself, I ain't gonna tell your parents. But you said murder, you wrote. Oh, wait a minute, hold on. Y'all done took auntie a little too far. we got to do some other serious talking. But we have to learn. We have to learn how to listen, as you and Sharilyn stated. We have to learn how to listen and allow them to express ourselves. But also, Stu, we have to, as a man, and I've never been one, but I know I got brothers and nephews. But as a man, we have to learn how to approach our young generation of today. That's right. Because what we did do back in the day, we don't do it that way anymore. But let me just help you. But showing them how, telling them how, allowing them to know that it's okay you got a girl, you know, and then you got one over there on the other side of the street, them ain't your girls. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
How to put that inside of them. Mental health is so.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have to learn to talk to our kids and stop talking at them.
At our kids.
Actually have a conversation where they get to say what they want to say, and you get to say have a real conversation with your children.
Yep, absolutely.
The reason say mental health is so broad that boys walk into peer pressure, but now the pressure is now mental health to manipulation.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. You know, I think one of the things too, you know, my father was a prime example. One of the blessed things about saying my father, he wasn't even my biological father. He came into my life when I was 3, or even maybe younger than that. But one of the things that he did is he knew everything that was going on with me and who I used to hang out with. But he did it in a subtle manner. He didn't just do, okay, well, who you going with?
Right.
You know, he would just tell me like something, and I didn't realize what he was doing it until years later. But he said, son, I want to go ahead and take you to the, to the mall and everything. I said, all right, Dad. So then he asked me this. He said, well, invite 2 of your best friends. I'm like, for real? Dad gonna buy me some and them? So I invited them. Now, what he did was he get out there and he's talking a lot to them. Why? Because he's finding out these best friends. In other words, he's interpreting they're my best friends and I selected them. These are the ones I'm hanging out with. So now he needs to know who's his son hanging out with.
Right.
And that was like a strategy that I had passed along the way with those who had sons or even daughters. You know, invite your son, your daughter out somewhere that they want to go, and then tell them to bring, their 2 or 3 best friends. Now you may have to bring 2 ATM cards or whatever like that. That's fine.
Especially you trying to feed them.
Roger that. But like my mentor used to say, sometimes we got to be more than interested in the child to where we now invested in the child.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So now we can go ahead and I don't want to spend this extra money because I'm going to find out who my daughter or my son is hanging out with. And then when they come, I'm going to be talking to them more than I'm talking to my child. Why? Because I need to know what their head is all about. And that's what my dad did. He did that thing when I was like about 13 years old when I started high school. That's when he did it. When I started high school and stuff. Because see
that right then we thought we knew everything, and he pulling all that on us. Well, back in the day we did have that kind of parent period, It all swings back to that communication.
Yep.
9 times out of 10 nowadays, kids come home from school, they go in their room and close the doors. Well, at our house, you weren't closing no doors.
You weren't closing no doors.
Not at all. And then we didn't have no cell phone, and you was getting out of the house and be back in before the lights come on. But now these kids, you can't get them out the house. If you take their phones from them and put them outside, that's their punishment because they had to go outside.
Yeah, so absolutely.
We have to is it that we have to retrain ourselves so that we'll know how to handle different situations. I don't know if it's a retraining it. I'm just looking at the parenting part of the whole thing. I'm stuck on. I don't want to step on no parents' toes, but then again, I don't care anyway because it's about.
When did you start caring?
I know, but I want to be. I want help. That's the main thing that I'm interested in how helping our young boys grow up to be young men. And it's so hard when, as Sharilyn stated, that we talk at the kids instead of talking to the kids. So, you got to help us. So,
one of the things I've learned is, you got to get kids into a mindset of servicing others, engaging in acts of service, as encouraged by many people. Many people can end up getting into that, right? But it's all about service, right? And it can enhance the feelings of self-worth and community. Because if you think about how, one of the things that my pastor used to say at our church is, you never feel a part unless you do your part. And doing the part that he always talked about was servicing others. join into an auxiliary, whereas your hands are to the plow. You're doing something. It's all about that self-worth. And then all of a sudden, as you going out and you doing, in other words, if I'm gonna go out and do some kind of a event where I'm feeding the homeless, that child who's in my household is coming with me. And they're not gonna come with me because they ain't got no choice, because I said so. No, they're gonna come with me because I want you to support me in my endeavors, and I want you to learn what I'm doing. Or son, look, I think it's a good idea. You might be pleading to them, but at the same time, they know they got to come. So now they got the mentality of going as a help instead of going because you said so. And then when you get them there, give them some taskings as it relates to servicing others. And again, that's one thing that could happen. And I learned that from someone who told me about that.
Hold that right there. And we're gonna take one more break. Okay. Y'all could be right back. He got something for you.
Right back.
Hey, this is your girl Linda Scott. I am here to introduce you to Linda S. Jury 1426. Now, some of you know me, some of you don't. But if you don't know me, get to know me. Check out and scan the QR code below. Look at the inventory. I made this. God created. I put it together. See you soon. All right, thank you so much, Stu. Stu, I have a question.
Uh-huh.
All right, Sharilyn, that's a book down there. You have to read that one. Hold on 1 second, though.
Okay. Go ahead, Linda.
I as a woman and a single parent woman with 2 boys, how do I reach them?
Good. A lot of people say that a woman can't raise a man. But I'm going to start off by answering that question by saying this. There was a brother who came to Killeen, Texas with a play. And the name of the play was, Can a Woman Raise a Man? So he came up to the studio and we interviewed him and everything, right? And I asked him a question. I said, hey, you very interesting title of your play. And obviously that has something to do with the plot of the play. So let me ask you, can a woman raise a man? His answer was this. He said she shouldn't have to, but with God, she can. She shouldn't have to, but with God, she can. Now, that's a simple thing right there. But let me speak as it relates to that particular phrase or that particular statement to those who may not have a relationship with God.
Right.
With good male friends, she can. Right. There's a young lady in Killeen, and I love her to death. I love her to life, actually. Her name is Dr. Jennings, Dr. Elizabeth Jennings, and she actually have a boys to men mentorship program.
Wow.
And what she has done is she's gathered different men with different type of gifts. She got men who are mechanics, men who are sports, men who are intellectual. And she has about 10 boys in the program, and they all are connected with each one of those 5 or 6 different men based on the gifts that they have. So I would encourage a single mother, to find out what is that gift. What is that gift that your child has? In other words, everybody has been endowed with a gift by God to be on this earth. Whether your gift is good with your hands or whether your gift is good with singing, your child's gift is just drawing. Some people can draw and they ain't never been to an art class. Find out what that gift is and then get them in that kind of a program. If they love dancing, we'll get them in some kind of a dancing program. If they love to draw, get them in some kind of an art program. If they love to fix things, get them in some kind of a maintenance or some kind of a program that can enhance their gift. Once people start having a purpose, if once people start really connecting with their purpose and their passion, oh man, they ain't got time to be depressed because they're enjoying what they do.
Wow.
Hello, somebody. They're enjoying what they do.
Producer, could you put that back up? The last
comment.
Yes.
It says it's not about the trading; it's building trust within the respect of each parent, regardless if one is absent or not. They have to learn how to build respect within.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. Now, building respect within. Now, if I'm gonna build respect within, somebody got to pour it in me though. Because as a child, I don't know too much about respect unless you give it to me. You know what I mean? We don't want children to go out there and try and figure out respect on their own. So we have to have that child to build that respect, and that child to be able to have some inpouring of some respect. But I think I like that particular statement, because we as parents, we can't necessarily do it like we used to. You know what I mean?
Oh, right.
It was effective with my dad's kids.
Stu, I got my hands around his neck, and anyway.
We can't do it like that no more. We
don't have that village anymore either. We don't have the villages like we had when we were coming up.
Right? There you go. Because the village is filled with too many people who ain't doing right. But one of the things we have to do with our kids, we got to sit them down. We got to talk. You know what I mean? And I learned this thing after my daughter was grown. So praise God, we still have a good relationship with my daughter. But with my grandkids, I sit them down and talk to them. Hey, how was your day? What went on in your day? Now, they think I'm the funniest papa out there, but at the same time, we get serious as it relates to, hey, well, how was your day? Talk to me. What would you like to do tomorrow? You know what I mean? And then we go do things or try and do things or whatever the case may be. But, sit around with your kids, play video games. People don't even like to play video games. But how about if you join in on that video game? See what they like about the video game. Just encourage them in the video game or whatever the case may be. And some of the video games, we need to know what's going on anyway.
Right.
That part. I tried that part of learning how to play the video games, but I just don't think I was smart enough.
But now this is the deal, though. This is the deal, Linda. You ain't got to be out there doing video games 5 days a week. It's just a couple of times when you want to talk to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just them in their space when you talk to them and stuff, instead of telling them come to your space. Because that's a caring thing, if you will. You care to be where they're at. You know what I mean?
Wow.
That was one of the things I had learned.
And find what they're interested in. Some parents don't even know what their kids are doing from day to day. Find out what they're interested in and get involved in that, and get involved to their day-to-day life, to show them you care, to show them that you care. Yeah, and that's something we have lost too. We've lost the village, and we've lost. Parents today are so busy working and trying to make ends meet and whatever, having to have 2 jobs, and we don't have too many stay-at-home moms anymore.
Do we have any? You say too many. Do we have any?
Right. When the father was the breadwinner and the mother stayed at home and the mother took care of the children, we don't have too much of that anymore. And our children are missing a lot.
A lot. My mother had 6 kids. The first 4 kids, she was the stay-at-home mom. She read to us. She did all those things. She played with us. And then the last 2, the two last one, we call them 2 mishaps. That was the other 4. And but hey, I love them to death. I love them to death. But when she had to get out and start working, you can tell the difference in those last 2 from them first 4.
My. That's right. That's right.
We can't do. Not that we can't. We have to put that time allotment in. Okay, so when I get home from work, I know I'm gonna be in the kitchen. But come on, y'all, in the kitchen, because we sat at the kitchen table,
right?
And anything that we've done that whole week, and we didn't get caught doing it, we can tell it. We can tell it because my mom said, "Okay, so you did it that one time, you didn't get caught. I ain't gonna do nothing. I ain't gonna say nothing because you stupid enough to go do it again because I didn't get caught the first time." So, my parents, I don't know if I can ever compare my parents with everybody else because my mama was really crazy. I mean, like when I say really crazy, but good crazy though, because we're here today and we know better and we love and care for others. But that's what we have to initially get back to, finding that moment to spend with our children, especially our boys, because our boys, we definitely got to train them how to become men, to be the protector, to be the provider, to know that it's okay to sit and talk to mom or Uncle Joe, or the communication. If we don't teach our kids, and especially our boys, if we don't teach our boys how to talk, we lost. We lost. So we we definitely got to we definitely got to learn how to communicate with them in order for them to communicate with you. So they don't fall into that. All right, so did you do this? He don't even know how to say, no, I didn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
I guess. You know what I'm saying? So, but we have to learn how we have to learn how to communicate, period.
Right.
And that's the whole key in all of the depression. That's the whole key in all the mental capacity that we're going around holding all this stuff in and not knowing who to talk to and why to talk to them and how long I'm going to talk to them and what I'm going to tell you. So if I just told you a little bit that, hey man, I'm sleeping, my nights are my days, that should give a cue that something is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Because your nights should be nights and your days should be days, unless you work in those kind of shifts. But if your everyday life is getting up, supposedly going to work or getting up, eating breakfast or whatever the case may be, and I can say that from experience because that's who I am. I'm asleep all day if you let me. And then I want to be up all night. All night. I think it's something, Stu. Listen. It's in the morning. I'm sorry.
My phone be dinging all time of night, Stu.
That's where we have to learn to get to. Good. And everybody's not on God's kick. I'm gonna say it like that.
That's right.
But we have to ease that in on them, and they didn't even know we introduced them to God.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Because once we go in with, you need to call God and tell God this. Okay. Mm-hmm. You got his phone number? Because I'm done.
Right.
So it's that communication. It's that communication.
That's right.
That is it. And any problems that I have, I send them over to my baby sister or my big brother. I got a situation going on. Listen, I need y'all to help me out with what I'm doing. But it's I'm glad you're here to kind of guide us a little bit. I can see better now. We are we getting close. We got 3 minutes. Y'all, we got 3 minutes. Any questions that you want to ask Stu? Let me say Mr. Stu. Anything that y'all want to ask, didn't say.
We got 3 minutes.
3 minutes to get it to him. So Stu, where can they find you at, man? Where can they find you?
They can find me at Popeyes or KFC. You might find me over in there in the dessert section of HEB. You can find me at stewhype@gmail.com. You can email me, shoot me an email, or go to Facebook. That's www.facebook.com/stewhype, STEWHYPE. My website will be popping again within maybe another couple of weeks, and that's www.stewhype.com. So I'll get that back up momentarily. Amen. Thank you, ladies, so much for this time. What a blessed time to be with you all. And I must say, y'all are doing an excellent job with the Golden Square podcast, bringing these type of issues and all the other type of topics that y'all brought unto the people to really bless the people and to encourage the people. That's community in itself.
Oh, thank you. We have one more comment. It says, boys learn to treat women how they see their father, or guys treat their mom. Mm-hmm. And the mom must admit there's a problem if she allows a man to treat her different. Daddy's girls, mama's boys. Cliche is real.
Amen. No doubt. Absolutely. Well, I'm gonna keep y'all lifted up in prayer, man. Thank y'all so much, man. What a blessing it is. Amen. I got this studious look going on, so I'm gonna take these glasses off. Girl, there it is.
Okay, so
I look like that 10th grade dropout.
Last week we had Fred Taylor, who ran for what was it, Houston District Democrat.
District something, yeah.
But anyway, the bottom line is he won. We congratulate
Fred
Taylor,
yeah.
and then we congratulate Oscar
Telfair.
Telfair. That sounds like for the tail daddy on somebody. So
okay, man, good.
So we just
probably won because it was on your show too. He won because he was on your podcast.
You're gonna think that anyway.
That's it. So, didn't he say blessing Stewhype?
Yeah, that's Mama D. What's up, Mama D? I love you. Okay. I love you, Mama D. You're supposed to call me nephew instead of Stu.
Okay,
Rissy Dexter said this was an awesome show.
Right, so y'all join us again next week. However, we want y'all to go to our YouTube channel and subscribe on our YouTube, the Golden Square Podcast, and then come back and see us next Thursday at 7 p.m. We'll have a treat for you too. Listen, the Golden Square Podcast, where the gold is pure. Cheryl and I looking forward to seeing you next week. Thank you and good night.
Thank you, guys.
God bless you.